Hannah from the cafe at the Pickwick Place, and today I'm going to show you how we make our Bonuts. So what is a Bonut? It is a mixture of a donut hole and biscuit dough. So we just make our biscuit dough and we form them into like small donut holes and we deep fry them. So today I'm going to show you how to make our biscuits. We're going to start with 3 cups of flour. And then we are going to do baking powder. So baking powder is what's going to help your biscuits, or in this case our Bonuts, kind of get those fluffy and rise. So we're going to do a tablespoon and a half of baking powder. And then of course we need some salt. Biscuits need some flavor. So we're going to do about a half tablespoon of salt, and then also a tablespoon of sugar for a little bit of sweetness. Alright, so those are all of our dry ingredients, so I'm going to go ahead and whisk those together. Mix them up. Alright, and then butter is obviously a huge component of biscuits, and so you want to make sure your butter is very cold. So either stick it in the freezer for a little bit or just keep it in the fridge. So it takes 1 stick of butter, and my little trick for butter is to grate it. So I've got my cheese grater here, and I'm going to grate this in, or if you don't have a cheese grater, you could just cut it into really small chunks, but it makes mixing it a lot easier when you have smaller pieces like this. So just like you would cheese, you're going to grate your butter. This is kind of therapeutic. No accidents here. Whoa, flying butter at you. Alright, so when I get down to the end, so I don't have any casualties, I'll just get a knife. Alright. Now if you have a pastry blender or knife, I guess is what they're called, you can use that, or you can go in with your hands. That's what I like to do. As much as I don't like using my hands, this is the best way to do it because you can get all the butter incorporated. You still want to see a little bit of the butter, but the biggest thing with biscuits is you don't want to especially once we add our buttermilk, you don't want to over mix them, or you're going to have very tough biscuits, and no one likes that. And then the last thing we're going to add is our buttermilk. So I do not typically have buttermilk on hand. So what you can do is you can just mix a little bit of vinegar, white vinegar, or I use lemon juice today. So like a teaspoon or 2 of lemon juice with your milk, and then you can kind of see it kind of turns it into buttermilk. So that works just as well. All right, and then at this point I'm going to use a wooden spoon to mix this. And again, this is where I was mentioning you do not want to over mix it, just until it's all incorporated. Almost there. Okay. And then I'm going to use my hands to get the last bit of it. Okay, so now you're going to want to flour your workspace a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my biscuit dough onto my floured workspace. All right, I'm going to get all of that, kind of the last little bit of flour mixed in. All right, so at this point, if you were making regular biscuits, we would roll it out and we would cut them into circles. But since we're making our Bonuts today, this is where we're gonna form them into the small holes before we deep fry them. So at the cafe, we would measure, like weigh these out to make them all the same size. But this is kind of the size, my floury hands, that we're going for. Again, at home, you can make them as big or small as you want. Just the bigger you make them, the more fry time it's gonna take, and the hardest part is getting like the inside done and not getting the outside too done. So that's the size I'm going for today. And I'm gonna try to make them, without a scale, make them all to somewhat the same size. And again, I'm gonna remind you not to press them too hard or overwork them, or else they're not gonna be fluffy when you fry them. So a lot of people often ask me where I got inspiration for our cafe menu items, how I created all of our sandwiches and items that we have at the cafe. And really it's a combination of different people giving me ideas and just trying new combinations at home. But a lot of it also comes from traveling to different places or going to new restaurants. And this Bonut inspiration came from a trip to Nashville a couple years ago. And when I heard of fried biscuit dough, I was like, ooh, I need to try that. And so when I tried making some, I loved it. And so that's kind of where our inspiration for the Bonuts came from. So you can see some of the chunks of butter in them, which is, oh, those are gonna be the good ones. That's the good stuff. All right, so I've got my Bonuts shaped, and I'm gonna save a little bit of dough for making actual biscuits, and a little bit later I'm gonna make some sausage gravy to go with them. So that's something too you could make. It makes quite a few Bonuts, so you could save some for biscuits or another recipe maybe you might have. One more time, wash my hands. This is why my hands are so dry, people. Okay, so today I'm gonna show you how to air fry them and deep fry them. So obviously at the cafe, we deep fry them in oil, but today, if you have an air fryer at home, maybe a little bit healthier of a way is to air fry them. So that's what I'm gonna show you now. Okay, so I found spraying the bottom of your air fryer helps to not get the Bonuts to stick as bad. So spray them good, and I even like to spray them like that. Perfect. Okay, so you don't want to put too many in depending on how big your air fryer is. You just want to do a single layer on the bottom. And then we're going to air fry them at 350 for, I'm going to check them at like 4 to 5 minutes and see, again, depending on how big your Bonuts are, the time might be a little different. So at the cafe, we change up our toppings for the Bonuts, and so just seasonally. So we started with lemon blueberry, we've done cherry chocolate. Right now our flavor is chai spiced, one of my favorites. So we're gonna get these going, and then I'll show you how to make the sauce for them. Usually I hit a button, cancel. Okay, here we go, temperature. Take that down to 350, start. Now I'm gonna set this timer. All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, so the ones in the air fryer are still going. I made them a little bit bigger, so they are gonna keep going for a couple more minutes. But while they're doing that, I'll show you the deep frying method. So I've just got some oil, hopefully at about 350. Put them in there. Again, you don't wanna put too many in at a time. I'll probably do 4 at a time. And then about, if your oil's at 375, it'll be about 3.5 minutes. And we'll check them to see if the insides are done. And the outsides are golden brown. All right, so at the cafe, we serve them with mascarpone. It's an Italian cream cheese. Emphasis on the pone is what I've learned how to say it. But if you don't have that, it's very similar to cream cheese. Today I'm going to use a little bit of both because I don't have much mascarpone. But like I said, our flavor right now is chai spiced. So I'm going to put 4 ounces of cream cheese, and I have like probably about 2 ounces of this. So altogether you want about 6 ounces of whether it's cream cheese or, I have to think about it every time I say it, mascarpone, I think. All right, so that was at room temperature, so I'm just gonna get this softened. Okay, so you can see it's nice and creamy. So now we are going to add a couple tablespoons of powdered sugar. So we don't want this too sweet, just a little bit of balance. The salty biscuits. Maybe 3 tablespoons. And then, okay, and then this is where the chai is gonna come into play. So you can either use like a liquid chai concentrate if you have that, or this is like a powdered chai tea mix. And so I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of that. And this, if you're not familiar with chai, it is a tea. It's got cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, like all the spices. So we're gonna go ahead and mix that now. Okay, let that do its thing. Oh yeah. So nice and golden brown. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer, and then we'll check one. See how these are coming. Just about ready. So once they come out of the fryer, whether air fryer, deep fryer, you're gonna roll them in cinnamon sugar. You can also roll them in like confectionery sugar or powdered sugar. But with the chai spice one, the cinnamon sugar goes very nice with it. Okay, the outside's looking good. We're gonna see if the inside is completely done. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh yum. Okay. Soon after you get them out of the oil, you're gonna want to roll them in our cinnamon sugar mixture. It's gonna be hot, so be careful. Just gonna gently roll them. Cover all the nooks and crannies. You wanna do this when they're still hot so that the cinnamon sugar sticks to them. Oh, they smell so good. All right. Okay, so our air fryer ones, you can see they look very similar, just still golden brown on the outside, but they will taste just as good as the fried ones. A little dusting. I usually have a shaker, but. All right, and that's how we make our Bonuts. Thumbs up.